Hi, I'm Tim Thomas, the Archery Education Coordinator for the Nevada Department of Wildlife, and today we're going to talk a little bit about arrows and arrow selection. Basically, the first thing you need to decide when you buy an arrow is the material that it's going to be made out of. The two popular ones out there today are aluminum, which this is an aluminum arrow, or carbon fiber. The difference in the two, I guess, is basically the carbon fiber is very, very durable. It doesn't bend. That's the nicest thing. It's not quite as straight in the tolerances typically as the aluminum shafts are. So that's kind of a choice, and typically the aluminum can be a little bit heavier than the carbon fiber arrows. Although you do have to make sure you're listening to and reading all the warnings on carbon fiber shafts, because if they are damaged, they become much more fragile and they can break where that damage occurred. So you want to decide that right off the get-go, whether you want to have an aluminum shaft or a carbon fiber shaft. If you want to go a little heavier or a little lighter in the shafts, that's probably going to be your biggest determination there. Spine. And what spine is, in a nutshell, is the fact that when you shoot an arrow, it always flexes and shoots off the bow, almost like a pole vaulter. So too little spine will shoot it off the bow one way, too stiff an arrow will throw it off the bow the other way. So there's charts out there by every manufacturer, and you need to know how long your arrow shaft is, how heavy your tip weight is out here in the front, how much push weight of the bow is, meaning your draw weight of the bow, and there's a chart that will help you get in the right category for the spine of the arrows. And don't let this number fool you though, because it's not standard throughout the industry. Just because it says 400 doesn't necessarily mean they're the same 400 spine. So you need to make sure you're reading the manufacturer's specs on these arrows to make sure you're matching arrows to arrows. Determining where the length is on a lot of these rests, the rest is inside and it's up over your hand, which is fine I think for a target shooter. But you know, you got razor blades sticking out on the tip of an arrow, so when you draw this arrow back, you know, do you really want it back here behind your hand? Probably not. You know, so most of the time you want to cut that length. So that full draw, you're probably at least an inch in front of the riser. Best way to absolutely do it is to draw an arrow back, an uncut arrow back, have someone at the archery shop or wherever you're purchasing the arrow mark that arrow an inch in front of the riser, and then you'll know your length and you'll cut your arrows to that length. Weight's always a big controversy in the archery world. Heavier shafts carry more kinetic energy downrange. They hold that energy longer. They keep their momentum up in the field. The carbon arrow or the lighter arrows typically have a little less arc to them. So basically the advantage to the lighter arrow is that you can misjudge the distance to your target by a few yards and still maybe stay inside the kill zone. But if you scrimp on the weight too much, you might not have the downrange energy that you need to pass through a really large game animal, say a moose or caribou or an elk in Nevada. You know, you want to keep that energy up as much as you can. The minimum for Nevada is 300 grains. That's way down there on the light side for like a 40-pound bow. You'll find most people that shoot a really, really good hunting arrow that works really well for them are probably somewhere between 400 and 500 grains of total arrow weight. That keeps not only the speed up enough that makes your arrow, your sight effective, it also keeps the weight up enough that downrange it has enough energy to penetrate through pretty much any animal that you're ready to shoot. So the last thing we want to talk about is different types of fletchings that are out there on the market. You can see these are 2 and 2.5 inch plastic fletching on these particular arrows. They come up to 5 inches in length. They come out of a lot of different materials. Feathers are really popular with traditional archers. What they are designed to do is to create drag on the back of the arrow to override the wings that you have put on the front of the arrow by putting your broadhead on there. So the reason these short vanes have become really popular is because the materials have gotten a lot stiffer and they're a little taller in profile, and so they control just as well as some of the longer vanes that were more flexible. Of course, feathers probably create the most drag of about anything out there. If you're going to put those in your arrows, you can use those through a compound as well. But bear in mind, you know, under fast conditions, under really, really fast bows, they tend to fold up a little more on the flight, and if they get wet, they tend to fold up and not be as functional on that. And this is like anything else in hunting, gun hunting or anything. You want to, whatever arrows you're practicing with, you want to hunt with those as well, because you want them to shoot exactly the same way. If you're changing brands and you're changing spine or you're changing arrow length, you're definitely going to change the way the arrow shoots. So you need to make sure that works all the same.